Welcome back to Creative Whispers, everyone. The art journaling game that everyone can play, created by Leaca Young at Leaca Young Art. We are in our second round of this game. The first round was played in June of 2025, and this round is being played in July of 2025. And here is the way this game works. Player number one, which this month was Leaca Young, she comes up with a prompt, but she doesn't tell anybody what the art journaling prompt is. She keeps it to herself, but she films herself creating an art journal spread in one of her art journals using her own secret prompt. After she edits her video, she sends it on to player number two, which this month is Gabrielle Heckenbucher. Gabrielle then watched Lisa's video. She tried to guess what she thought the secret prompt was from watching Lisa's video. And then, based on what she thinks the prompt is, she films herself creating in her own art journal. She edits that video and then she sends that video onto player number three, which in this month happens to be me. So, what you're watching here is me trying to guess what the prompt is based on not seeing what Lisa's video was, but only seeing what Gabrielle did in her journal. After I filmed myself creating in my art journal with my guess, which I'm not going to reveal to you what my guess was, but I filmed myself creating in my art journal with this guess in mind. I am now editing this video right here as I'm watching myself do this. I'm editing the video, and then I am going to send my video onto player number four. Player number four is Tina Hois. Tina's going to watch only my video, try to guess what the secret prompt is that Lisa came up with, and then Tina's going to film herself working in her art journal. She's going to upload her video to YouTube. And then what's going to happen is on July 1st of 2025, all four of us are going to publish our videos of us working in our art journal. So if you're seeing this video right here, right now, it means it's either July 1st, 2025 or after July 1st, 2025. And you've got the advantage now of seeing all of our art journal playtime right here on YouTube. And you can try to guess what you think Lisa's secret prompt was. And then if you want to play along with the game, you can film yourself working in your own art journal and you can upload that to YouTube. You could also not film yourself if that's not your thing. And you could just work in your art journal, take pictures of what you created, and put those pictures on Instagram and use the hashtag Creative Whispers. Or you could watch our videos, create in your art journal, and not do anything at all having to do with you uploading onto social media. It's totally up to you. You can even just watch these videos for pure entertainment because it's fun to watch other people make art. So you get to play this game however you want to play this game. But I do have to say, if you end up uploading a video onto YouTube of yourself playing the game, I highly recommend letting Lisa at Leaca Young Art on Instagram. I highly recommend letting her know that you've uploaded a video to YouTube. And that way you can get your video listed on the official playlist for this month's or this round number two, this round of Creative Whispers. Because if you've gone and made a whole video, edited it, uploaded it to YouTube, you know how much work that is. And you're going to want to get your video listed on the official playlist. Now, I'm also going to put a playlist of the four videos, the four original videos in this round. I'm going to put a playlist of that right in the description to my video right here. Oops, you just saw me tear out a page out of my journal. But you know what? It's all good because everything is figure outable. So I'm going to actually use a piece of that old wallpaper that I have a stack of over to the side that you don't see, and I'm going to use it to create a tab to reinforce myself as I put this page back into my journal. So, okay, now that you understand how the game works, you may already know or not know that we did this game in June and it was super duper fun. And so we've decided to continue doing this as long as we can because it's really truly a brilliant game and it gets me into my art journal in a very inspired way. Usually when I go into my art journal, I'm doing really random stuff. You can see my art journal here. You can see how random the pages look that are up in the upper left-hand corner. I'm usually just kind of making a mess with whatever leftover stuff is on a paintbrush or a brayer. But this kind of journaling, the kind where I'm watching someone else before I do my own art journaling and picking up on cues from them, this kind of journaling is really, really different because I've got something that's already in my mind of where I want to go. So I don't want to give away too much of what I thought the prompt was for this month, but I do want to talk about the materials that I ended up using. So before I filmed this video, I happened to be in a part of my house where I keep a lot of supplies for my Willa journals that I used to actually create and sell. And I haven't done any creating or selling of Willa journals for other people in quite a few years because my life just got very busy doing other things. But I have a lot of leftovers from that period of my life. And I was in my basement, which is where I'm currently keeping those leftovers. I don't plan on keeping them there forever, but they're there temporarily. Anyway, I grabbed this nice stack of old vintage ledger paper that I had done abstract watercolor florals on. And I decided that instead of keeping this page intact, even though it is so beautiful and could become a beautiful art journal page, I decided that for the purposes of this video, that I was actually going to fussy cut all of the elements out and see if I could artfully arrange them on my page. So you also saw me attach a piece of old wallpaper into my journal. Now, my journal is what I call a sidekick journal. It's a standard handmade art journal, and I call it a sidekick journal because I keep it with me no matter what I'm doing, and I just use it as a sidekick to making art, meaning if I have excess pigment on a brush or a brayer, or I just have whatever materials happen to be lying around, I just pick those materials up and I kind of wipe them off in that journal. And eventually, actually, the pages do come together really beautifully and become something. But for this video and for the purposes of this game, my goal is actually to do a complete art journal spread and not just rub some pigment on a page. So I pulled together the materials that I think are going to work for this. And one of the other things that I pulled out was this stack of sort of leftover cutoff of old wallpaper pages. I had collected a lot of old wallpaper many years ago, again, when I was making and selling Willa journals. Those are just junk journals that I call Willa journals because I make them and I love the name Willa. So anyway, I was making and selling a lot of Willa journals, and I have a lot of excess, basically vintage wallpaper. And I saw that there was this big stack of it down there in the basement. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be interesting if I could combine the old vintage wallpaper with these gorgeous abstract watercolor florals that I had? How could I combine those two? And so I just decided, you know what? I'm going to make this wallpaper the entire background of my journal page. And because it has like a vinyl feel to it, I knew that it was going to be difficult to do anything to it unless I put clear gesso on it. So there you see me trying to open up an old bottle of clear gesso, and then I take a dedicated gesso brush and I just paint on some clear gesso, and it works really, really well because it gives that paper a matte, toothy finish. And there's no way I would be able to write on this if I hadn't put the clear gesso on. I might not have even been able to really glue anything onto it. I'm not sure, but it had such a slippery finish that I needed the clear gesso. And this Liquitex clear gesso that I'm using, I think this is definitely the preferred clear gesso because it has a beautiful toothy feel to it after it's dry. So that's why you saw me doing that. But basically what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to really do much of it on camera because it takes so long, is I'm going to fussy cut out all of these watercolor floral elements so that I can play with them and see if I can come up with an artful composition for my journal pages. So now that I've got most of those watercolor floral elements fussy cut out, I'm going to see if I like the way that they look arranged on the right side and the left side border areas of my journal page. I don't know if this is going to work or not at this point. I don't know if I want to cut away more parts of the old ledger page. I don't know what's going where, but I'm going to audition. That's what this is called. So I'm just going to audition for a little bit, see if I like how it's coming together. I also want to incorporate those blue-green sprig type elements because that's really why I brought in that particular piece of wallpaper, because it had the blue green in it and I just thought it really looked pretty with what I had painted all those years ago on the ledger paper. And yeah, so I'm just going to play with it here till I get a composition that I like, and then I'm going to really carefully glue those elements onto that wallpaper. So it's a little bit precarious, and I do end up figuring out how I can glue the elements on in the places that I want them. So you're going to see that sort of coming together. I do want to talk to you about the glue that I use, the applicator bottle. So I think at this point I'm going to bring out the applicator bottle. And yeah, where is it? Okay, it must be coming very, very soon. There it is. Okay, so I get these applicator bottles on Amazon. They are very inexpensive, and I fill them up with a very specific glue. It looks like Elmer's glue, but it's not. It's actually a glue called reptile glue. And reptile glue is very similar to another glue that's super popular called art glitter glue. But reptile glue is, I don't know the right word for this. It's either less viscous or more viscous. I always forget what means what with that word. But basically, art glitter glue is a lot runnier than reptile glue. And I find that art glitter glue, while art glitter glue is great and it has a great applicator bottle that it just comes in, it runs too fast for my needs. So I like actually this reptile glue better. The problem with the reptile glue is it doesn't come in an applicator bottle that has the metal needle nose tip. It comes in a different applicator bottle, but for my purposes, I need the little needle nose tip. And yeah, so I really like this glue in those applicator bottles for gluing all of my fussy cut pieces onto all my projects. It's just really great glue. And the other thing that's really great about it is that it has this incredible stick to it. So once you stick it on your paper, you really can't move it. So that's another thing to know about it. It's not repositionable. Like as soon as you stick it down, it is stuck there and it is not going anywhere. And I always like to mention, if I can remember, to give credit to the person who turned me on to this glue and putting it in this particular applicator type bottle. And her name is Kelly Anderson. And Kelly was one of our Fodder School 1 teachers, and she gave amazing lessons in our final month of Fodder School 1. And when I talk about this glue and how much I love it, I really always think about her and how much I appreciate that she shared that tip with us, because it was a game changer for me, and that was about 4 years ago. So yeah, I've never gone back really. It's just so helpful when gluing these kinds of pieces. So, okay, I'm kind of sorry because I wasn't paying total attention to where my book was in the frame of the camera. So it's kind of off of where I would maybe want it to be at this point. But what you see me doing here is just fussy cutting away more of the old ledger paper. I'm kind of thinking of how I want these pieces to look at the edges of the pages. I'm thinking a lot about what is going to be on the page when all is said and done and where it's going to land. And I really like fussy cutting. I find it to be very meditative. It's not difficult at all. In fact, I have a whole entire video on YouTube of just tips for fussy cutting. But one of the things that I really understand more and more every day about art journaling and making art and all of the kinds of tasks that you do when you're an art journaler is a lot of them are really very, very simple, and you don't have to think very hard about them. And that actually repetitive, simple things are fundamental in allowing us to relax our nervous systems and achieving flow state. So, if you think that working in an art journal is frivolous, then I am here to tell you that it couldn't be further from reality. Actually, working in an art journal and doing the kinds of things that you see all of us doing in these videos is actually as good as any kind of anti-anxiety medication. I mean, I'm not a doctor, okay, but I have a lot of life experience with anxiety and calming my nervous system and repairing my nervous system, and I can say that doing things repeatedly, so fussy cutting things repeatedly, adding the glue, figuring out, simple compositions. These are things that you can do repeatedly. Using a glue stick to collage papers on. These are all things that you don't have to think too hard about. And you're using your hands and you're touching art materials, and all of those things combined together make these kinds of exercises like powerful anti-anxiety medications. So, okay, I'm just going to keep doing exactly what you see me doing here until I get to the next step. So I'll just speed through this part. So it turns out I've got some leftover fussy cut pieces. And even though I don't want to put them on the main pages that I'm doing for this video, I think it'd be kind of fun to have that repeat element so that when you turn the page in the journal, you see another of the same element repeating itself. Plus that page right behind the one that I'm working on, that page is pink and green, and it looks so good with the colors in these fussy cut florals that I decide, you know what? I'm just going to take this opportunity to actually add something to the page behind it. So I actually decided that I'm going to keep these pages really, really simple today for many reasons. One of them is because actually sometimes simple is really beautiful, and you don't have to go crazy all the time adding every last thing to an art journal page to make it really awesome. And I think that's the case with these. I think that the busyness of the background wallpaper, along with the busyness actually of the fussy cut watercolor florals, there's already a lot going on these pages. I don't need to go crazy messing them up. And the other thing is that I most of the time am art journaling to get to this point. So I'm really, really, really into hand lettering. If you don't know a lot about me, if you don't know about my style of art journaling, then I'll just tell you that hand lettering in my art journals is it's sort of almost the goal of the art journaling for me, like to get to the point where I'm adding someone else's quote, some thought that I have in my head that I want to just keep. I kind of want to memorialize it. And what I'm thinking about today as I'm making these art journal pages and as I'm filming this is just the amount of chaos that there is in the world, and also that there is in my personal life. There's just a lot of chaos, and nothing like crazy bad in my personal life is going on, but my life is pretty hectic, and I have children, and I'm obviously running a business, and I have a household, and I'm doing a major renovation project in my house to ultimately make my life simpler and better and improved. But in trying to do all those things that ultimately will hopefully lead to an improvement in my life and my children's lives and my husband's life and all of that, my life can sometimes feel very chaotic to me. And then, of course, there's also the chaos of the outside world, which, look, we've lived through a lot of times in history, humans have, where things have been extremely chaotic, and we just happen to be living through another one of those times. And so I was thinking about how this art practice that we all share, how much it really comes down to escaping chaos. Because when you're in it, when you're creating, when you're doing hand lettering and you're meditating, you're focusing your energy on this very simple, repetitive task of drawing these letters, of fussy cutting, of gluing, all of the things that we do in our art journals, it almost immediately when we begin doing it, we escape. We escape from the chaos of the outside world. And so I just thought this simple thought. I thought there is chaos out there, but in here there is peace. And I couldn't say it any better than that. Art making, it's about peace. It's about internal peace temporarily as I am doing the actual creating. And I cannot begin to tell you how significant that is in my life. I imagine I'm preaching to the choir. You already know how significant it is in your own life. And once you find creativity, once you find making, you really never want to give that up because it's one of life's greatest joys. So that's it for this video. That's it for these pages. I am thrilled with the way they came out. I am so happy to be a part of this collaboration that is called Creative Whispers. I'm usually not someone who loves working off of prompts. And actually, I much prefer the way that Lisa set up this game, where I don't actually know what the prompt is. I'm just seeing someone working in their art journal, and I'm trying to guess from all the things that they do in their art journal what the first person's prompt might have been. And it's just enough of a taste of something to get me inspired to go into my stash and find the things that I want to work with and pull them together into something that I think might work. I mean, you never know. When you start one of these art journal pages, you pull stuff together, you start working in it, but you don't know how it's going to end up. And that's one of the other really amazing things about this is who really cares what your art journal pages look like when they're done? Because all that really matters is that you found that sense of peace and flow while you were making them. If you end up with something beautiful, it's a bonus, but it's not why we're doing it, because ultimately nobody really cares about our art journals but us. So we're doing it for the flow. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you go on to watch the next video in round 2, which is going to be a video from Tina Hois, and you'll find that video on the playlist in the description, and I hope you play the game.